So maybe I wasn't as clear about this bike as I should have been. Yes, I should know by now that that's just how YouTube works, because what you guys saw me do in the last video was try to kick it over a couple times and then say, oh, you know what, the engine's done, I can't use it anymore. And what really happened was I tried to crank it over for an hour and a half, took about a 30-minute break, and then worked on it for 6.5 hours. I disassembled the carburetors, I cleaned the carburetors out, I did a compression check on it, and much more. And I really should have known that you guys probably should have seen a lot of that. I didn't record a lot of it because most of the time I was covered in gas. The last thing I want to do is get this $3,000 camera covered in gas. So yes, I did a compression check on this engine, it failed. I took the carburetor apart, did great, the carburetor's putting out plenty of fuel. I tried adjusting it a little bit, didn't make a difference, but it's getting plenty of fuel, it's getting spark. You see how easy I can turn this motor over? Literally nothing. Absolutely no resistance, just like butter. What you also didn't see is the other 3 or 4 hours that I put researching into figuring out why this wouldn't be starting. It's not because it's not getting fuel, it's not because it's not getting spark, it's getting both of those things. It's because it's not getting compression. It needs rings, it needs gaskets, it needs to be rebuilt. I think a lot of you guys forget really quickly that I basically took this entire bike apart and rebuilt it. That includes dropping the motor out completely away from the frame, rewiring a bunch of shit, custom battery box. I took apart the carburetors, rebuilt the carburetors. So I'm not an idiot, but you're gonna have to forgive me if I seem a little bit peeved or unsettled about the comments that I've been getting, because they're basically cringeworthy. I mean, I have people telling me to make gaskets out of cereal boxes. People get mad at me because I'm not keeping it original, or people are getting mad at me because I'm destroying a classical bike. This isn't a classical bike. This is an AMF Harley Davidson. This is not a classical bike, because I guess people forget that I've worked on bikes before and I somewhat know what I'm doing. Like the carburetor wasn't the very first thing that I checked. And yeah, a lot of it is my fault. A big part of it is my fault for not portraying it to you guys that I didn't check the carburetors, or that I didn't check to see if the petcock was on, because I'm a fucking idiot. What you guys saw was me kick it over a couple times and give up. But what really happened is that I took about 6 to 10 hours worth of time trying to get this bike running so it'd be a smooth transition between, hey, I refreshed it and now it's running. But in reality what happened is that the bike decided that it doesn't want to catch anymore. For those who don't know, the kicker is on a weird spring system that basically contorts when this is kicked and it turns the motor over. I took the transmission cover off to check it today. This thing is totally fucked. That's why it's not kicking over. The internal kicker spring is really not working very well. It doesn't want to catch at all. And another thing I should have made clearly is that I'm not giving up on this motor completely. What I'm doing is I'm dropping the motor and putting a new motor in for the time being. I'm putting a 140cc Piranha motor in there that supports 12-volt electronics, meaning that I can run headlights and taillights and light bars and do whatever the fuck I want to do with this bike. And I know a lot of you guys are getting upset that I'm changing around a classic bike, but let me tell you, even in 100% pristine condition, this bike would maybe bring $3,500 that's if I were to keep it 100% parts matching, completely restored bike. That's not classical. That's not worth it to me. To me, I want to make something that's cool and different, that's my own bike. So I'm sorry if you guys don't want to see me turn this bike into something that's different, or paint it different colors, or not make it what I would ride. If that's not what you want to watch, unsubscribe or don't watch the build series. I'm sorry. And another thing I want to point out is that the motor that I ordered was $380. Shipped to my house, completely built, ready to go, has a carburetor on it, makes about 12 horsepower, which is about 11 horsepower more than this bike makes. There's been tons of people back and forth saying that this bike makes more than the horsepower that it's putting out. Let me tell you, it doesn't. This is a 70s two-stroke 123cc. It says 125, but the real displacement's like 123 and some change. And from the factory specs put out exactly 1.98 horsepower, not even 2 horsepower. So yes, maybe I wasn't clear about what my intentions are. My intentions are to drop that motor, put it right there, and rebuild the motherfucker completely from the ground up. Make it nice and clean, and then it will go back in that bike. But in the meantime, I'm putting a 140cc motor in that bike just to drive it around and have fun on it. And then, assuming that I can get the 123 or the 125 or whatever you want to call it running perfectly fine, I will swap it back and take the 140cc and make a go-kart out of it. If that's not how it works out, then it's keeping the 140 because that's what I want. So I'm sorry if I seem a little bit peeved off about this, because I am. The comments are getting ridiculous, thinking that I don't know even the slightest thing about motorcycles, and that is partially my fault. But I'm here to nip that in the butt and show you guys that I'm not totally stupid and that I'm going to do this the right way. This bike wasn't my uncle's dying wish to give me this thing and have me restore it 100%. To him, it's just an old dirt bike that he used to ride that he's not gonna do anything with, so I'm taking it over and doing something cool with it. I'm making it different. There's not gonna be a single Harley Davidson 125 dirt bike like mine around. So forgive me for not telling you guys everything that I did. That's my fault. I should have done that. I should know by now that that's how I have to do it. Jake the Garden Snake and I talked about it for I think like 2 hours, talking about the issues that go on with these motors when they fail compression tests and the seals break. It's been sitting for such a long time that the seals are probably ruined inside of it, and then I have to buy a whole new gasket kit. And no, I'm not gonna make gaskets out of cereal boxes. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm gonna do this thing right. I am. But just bear with me and don't assume that I'm a complete idiot. And yes, this is not the only video I'm uploading today. I'm also uploading a vlog on the Magna today. This is just a video to clarify that I'm not a total fucking idiot and that you guys can resume the wonderful joys of calling me an idiot later. But no, I did not give up that quick, and I'm not giving up on the motor to begin with. I'm just setting it aside while I put something else in it for the meantime. But I don't have any real interest in keeping this bike super authentic and keeping it super the same, because that's just not how I am. I'm not a stock kind of guy. I like to be original and different and do stuff. Like, I think this is a pretty good example. You won't find another Magna out there that looks anything like this. And because it's different, it's gotten me to do a lot of cool stuff. I've been on The Walking Dead with it, and I've met a lot of cool people, and I did a lot of cool stuff with it. So just bear with me, all right, guys? I'm not a complete tard. As much as it seems like it sometimes, I'm not a complete idiot. Also, want to point out that rebuilding this motor will cost me anywhere between $500 to $600, just because of the parts aren't easy to come by. Like I said, originally this is an Italian bike. It's not really a Harley Davidson made bike. It's just a rebranded Ermachi, something like that. So finding parts isn't easy. They're not necessarily expensive a lot of the times, but a gasket kit and a piston and rings are gonna run me about 500 bucks. In the meantime, I can throw a more powerful motor into it and then have a lot of fun while I rebuild the motor, while I get parts, because I ordered some piston rings that are gonna take 3 months to get here because they're in Italy. And I don't care how much your granddad's uncle can get you parts for, because that's not how it works with me. I'm going to do this on my own time. So thank you guys very much.